Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on the Three Man Blitz. I'd just like to take a moment to remind you to follow us on Twitter at 3manblitz. Visit us at www.3manblitz.com. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, Breaker, and don't forget to view us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, welcome into another edition of the Three Man Blitz with your guy Jeremy right here. We got Queasy, we got Andrew. Today we're going to tackle the top 10 fantasy wide receivers. Okay, so these are the guys that you need to be targeting pretty early if you want a good wide receiver core. All right, before we get started, let's go ahead and take our shots.
You go for three, boys.
Go for
Yes,
three.
sir.
Go for three. Woo. That Jim Beam goes hard in the paint.
Yeah, that was like go for six for me.
Sweet.
Yeah, when we record this episode, we've already done another, so we're a few deep.
We're a few deep. Apologies.
That's how we
Also,
roll.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up my graphic right quick so that you guys can see what we're rocking with. You guys listening in, just give us a second. All right, you guys see what we see?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Beautiful.
All right, so I'll go ahead and get us started right now with the consensus number one. Shouldn't be any surprise with his fantastic 2019 season. You may not like him for his Twitter stuff that he's popping off at everybody else, but Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas with the Saints, New Orleans own. Michael Thomas is, I should say his own because he's not from there, but number one, Michael Thomas overall.
Real quick, I hate to interrupt here, but Michael Thomas, leave Devontae Parker alone on Twitter. Leave that man alone. He didn't do nothing to you.
I guess he was popping off at the wrong stuff, and Michael Thomas felt like he needed to tell him that he was the best. I don't know.
Is Devontae Parker not allowed to give his opinion anymore? Leave that man alone. He's
Apparently not. We just got done talking about social media and being not the best way to communicate, and apparently that's what everybody wants to use. So bad communication. But Michael Thomas, can anybody say no? Well, Queasy's got him at number 2. So Queasy, what you think about Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas is a beast. He's definitely better than Devontae Parker.
I mean, he's got to be. He is.
I'm joking, but I mean, he's man, hands down one of the top wide receivers. I mean, it's arguably the top 3 of mine could easily be number 1. But within fantasy, I'm going to put Hopkins. I put Hopkins, but you wouldn't be wrong by putting Thomas at all.
Yeah, and I think that's just a projection. I mean, Arizona should have a lot of opportunities to throw the ball around. So I think me and Andrew have Hopkins at number 2. So that's a good segue to number 2. And our consensus list is DeAndre Hopkins. Dude's got hands the size of, I don't know, you might say cactuses or something since he's out in Arizona.
No. Be normal and say baseball mitts.
Well, what's fun with being normal? I don't want to be normal.
It'd be weird. Cactuses don't catch footballs.
I don't know.
Baseball mitts don't either.
Hands the size of Texas. That's it, man.
I like the size of Texas. I like that a lot.
But he just left the Texans, so it's almost offensive.
The hands the size of Arizona.
See, it doesn't roll.
It doesn't sound as good, but you know what? I think that Arizona's going to love having him on the squad.
Exactly.
So he's going to be catching a ton of balls. I hope it's upwards of around 100, and I hope he is catching a ton of touchdowns for huge plays, 30-plus yards. Please, DeAndre Hopkins.
He's going to get a lot of targets. And for anybody listening, DeAndre Hopkins is better than OBJ. Y'all hear that?
He just is.
And Devontae Parker, too.
Yeah, he is. He's better than both.
It ain't his fault. He's playing for Miami. Let's keep rolling.
Keep rolling. All right, number 3, Queasy's favorite.
Yes, sir.
One of my favorites. We got Julio Jones there with the Falcons. Boom.
We've all got Julio high. We're all high on Julio. He's a big boy, and he is good in the red zone, but not utilized enough, and that's why he even slipped to my number 4. Like, if he got more touchdowns, man, like his yards is great, his amount of targets is great, his receptions is great. Everything is great about Julio except his red zone targets. Let's work on that, Matty Ice, and we're going to bump Julio up on the list.
That works for me. I honestly, and I know I'm a diehard, but I do see them in the Super Bowl this coming year.
Woo! Woo! Big time.
Hey, Queasy, shot bet.
Shot bet. I was gonna
Hey,
say
I'm with
bet.
it. I'm
shot
with
bet.
it.
Shot
Boom,
bet.
shot bet.
Shot
I'm
bet.
writing it
Nice.
down, my friend.
So Julio, I mean, Matt Ryan's got to throw to either, he's got to throw to somebody, and Julio's the best one to pick from. You got Calvin Ridley there, but
Yes.
Julio Jones is a fantastic talent. He's a specimen. He can catch anything thrown his way. I expect to have Julio Jones. He could be number one. He has that potential if he gets the amount of attention that he should. And like you said, Andrew, I really want to see him utilized more often. And I don't think it's a factor if he can get open. He definitely gets open. I think it's just a matter of scheme. But hopefully they give him the ball often, and downfield. I want to see big plays, not just in the red zone. I don't want to just see touchdowns. I'll take the touchdowns. I will take the touchdowns, but I want to see the big plays as well.
Exactly.
All right, at number 4, to keep things rolling, we have Davante Adams out of Green Bay. So a very talented guy here. Aaron Rodgers is going to toss the pill around quite a bit. And when he does, you expect to see it go to Davante Adams more often than not. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. I personally have him. Where did I have him?
Number 5.
I have him number 5. So I have him basically the same spot. I don't think you can really argue the fact that Davante Adams should be a top 5 receiver. If you do, holla at your boy. We'll have that conversation. Otherwise, Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame type quarterback, Davante Adams reaping the benefits.
Exactly.
Let me say this. Not many people are saying this right now, but Aaron Rodgers is going to have a point to prove, especially with Green Bay drafting a quarterback this past year. So Davante Adams, exactly, off the season. But Davante Adams is going to reap the rewards of that, and so I definitely think he's going to have a great year because of that.
I so agree with what you guys are saying. Davante Adams is going to reap the benefits of that. And I'm not saying he's the best receiver in the league. I'm not even necessarily going to say as far as talent goes, he's a top 5. But when you're on the receiving end of Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, cracked our top 10 list, then, you've got to be the guy. And like, their number 2 was like a huge step down from Davante Adams. So I'm going to say that, he solidly belongs at that number 4 if he can stay healthy. He had a bad year last year because he wasn't healthy. And this is like his chance to kind of turn things around, and I'm really excited for Davante Adams.
Yeah, and what's funny is, you talk a lot about COVID-19, right, and how it's going to affect a lot of teams, a lot of guys. You really look at your top echelon of especially receivers because their job, they have a route tree, obviously, and they've got stuff to do. But Davante Adams, he just uses this time to get healthy, right? He's not out there killing it. He's not out there killing himself. He's out there getting healthy. And that's what you want as a team. He's going to be healthy. He'll be out there producing, and that does wonders for your fantasy football team. That's why he's in the top 5.
And people are likely to sleep on Davante Adams, too. So if he drops to you in like the 2nd or 3rd round, definitely grab this guy. He is a fantasy top-tier sleeper. I'll say that. People put him in the 2nd tier, and he really shouldn't be there.
Hey, if you're in a league where he's dropping that low, go ahead and scoop him up and go ahead. And if that's the way your league's going, you're probably pretty good to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, you're going to win.
All right, so moving on here, just for time's sake, we got number 5. We've got Tyreek Hill out of Kansas City. Big play guy. Cheetah Speed, I think that's his nickname, is the Cheetah. So,
Cheetah.
He lives off his – that's right, and it's well-earned. He's extremely fast. He's a great receiver. He goes down the field and gets it. He's got the benefit of one of the best quarterbacks in the league, high-powered offense. Go ahead and take Tyreek Hill in the top 5 you receive. If he falls to you as the number 5 receiver, count your blessings and take him because he may not be the consistent week to week, but alone he will win you games alone with his big play ability.
Now, this is where Jeremy and I disagree. If you can see the chart here for our YouTube listeners, our YouTube viewers, I've got Tyreek Hill at number 10. And the reason I have him at number 10 is because of the inconsistency. And I think that, Tyreek Hill's the kind of guy where if you start him on the right week, Patrick Mahomes, I swear he plays a game with these receivers where he just picks one every week. And he's like, okay, well, Sammy, it's your week. Boom, 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 boom. You got 15 receptions for 300 yards and 8 touchdowns. Okay, well, Tyreek Hill, it's your week. Over the top we go. You got 8 touchdowns, blah, 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 this and that. So every week he's not going to be your guy, but you're definitely going to want to pay attention to the defensive matchups and make sure that he's got that speed edge over the guy, and that may be the week to start him. But, like, I argue with Jeremy on this one because I like the consistency. I don't think he's going to finish as a top 5 wide receiver on the season, but I still have him cracking my top 10 because he's a very good receiver on a very talented offense. And listen, that ball just gets spread around a little bit too much for my liking.
And I'll give you my rebuttal here in a second. Let's hear Queasy's take on Tyreek, and then I'll give you why I think he's a top 3 receiver.
Okay, and my take on Tyreek Hill is following behind Jeremy. He will win you some games. He may be slightly inconsistent, but when he blows up, it's not pretty, and he's gonna win you a game by itself.
Yes, sir. So exactly to your point, Queasy. So what it is now personally, when I look at drafting anybody, I look for consistency. I want to rely on a guy week to week. Yes. Tyreek Hill may not be that guy, but he is going to be on this list for total points because he's going to get it at the end of the season because he makes a ton of big plays. Okay, so it may not be week to week. So if you're looking for consistency, he may not be your guy. But if you're looking for a guy that's going to give you a ton of points and has the potential to give you points week to week, like his low side may be, 7 points based off a PPR league, pure reception type deal. But his ceiling is so high because of his athleticism. You've got to take him super high. Okay, so he's gonna finish really, really high. Definitely top 10. That's why we've got him here. The debate is whether or not he'll be top 3, top 5, inside the top 10.
Top 10, right? Which I've got him cracking my top 10 for sure. But I
mean, yeah, that's the deal. If you guys have comments, questions, be sure to put them down here, and we'll debate them all day. It's all speculative until we see it happen. So let's move on.
Tell us what you think about Tyreek.
Yeah, tell us what you think about the cheetah. All right, so next up we have a 3-way tie for 6th. I think we all hate putting somebody as a tie, but that's what came out of it. The first one up that we're going to talk about is Chris Godwin there for Tampa Bay. So he's got the addition of Tom Brady. He came on this past season, fantastic. I love this guy, Chris Godwin. I can't speak on him highly enough. I think he is explosive. Once he gets the ball in his hands, he can take a short slant to the house. He's definitely a guy that produces week to week. You just got to get him the ball. And the big hope is that Tom Brady will definitely feed him the ball, and you'll get a lot of production out of him. That's why we've got him so high.
Yeah, I've got Chris Godwin the highest of all 3 of us. I've got him as my number 3 guy. And so let me give you the plus on Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin is the best route runner in the NFL. For sure, I mean, it's definitely the arguments there, but definitely the best in the NFC South for sure. Now, there's going to be less volume. So let me make sense of this for you. Tom Brady is a better quarterback than Jameis Winston. That's obvious. That's a given. Everybody understands that. Tom Brady is going to have less turnovers than Jameis Winston. Therefore, you are going to be behind less than the Buccaneers were last season. When a team is behind, what do? They throw the ball. So there's going to be less targets. But I think that Tom Brady is going to be targeting Chris Godwin a lot because of his precise route running. I think that he's definitely going to be a top 3 receiver this year. He shouldn't be a guy to be slept on. That's for sure.
Well, he's a man that likes to spread around the ball. Of course, he's going to have Godwin, Evans, and Gronk to spread around the ball too. I think one of those 2 guys, Godwin or Evans, we're throwing a crapshoot on both of them. I think one of them will tail off, and of course, only time will tell. Because I can't see both of them as high as they are right now on our list. I can't see both of them ending there by the end of the season, but you still never know.
Yeah, and if you'll notice, not even just on our consensus top 10, but on our individual top 10, we all 3 have Godwin and Evans on our top 10. They're just both so talented. There was one point last season where Chris Godwin and Mike Evans were the number 1 and number 2 receiver on the season, on the year. So, I mean, the talent is there, the ability is there, but the turnovers are not. So they may not be playing from behind as much, but they've got a better quarterback at the helm. So maybe, he's throwing these guys open. We know Tom Brady is talented for sure. So it's kind of an unknown, but we're taking all of the factors and we're putting them together and we're giving you our best opinion on what's going to happen.
Right. So to Queasy's point, I don't know if both Godwin and Evans are going to be top 10 like they were past season. But you kind of go with what they were doing and what they have the potential to do again. So, of course,
Exactly.
Jameis Winston, he was throwing down the field a ton of times. He was throwing a lot of interceptions. They weren't really in games. They were having to throw a lot. Yeah. So it's definitely going to be more efficient, to Andrew's point. So it's really going to be interesting to see, what the production output looks like. And you're throwing in Gronk, and then you got O.J. Howard, and then you've got the other guy. I can't think of his name at the moment. But Galladay I really like because he's in that slot position. That slot position normally pays out dividends if you utilize it correctly, which I think they will. So for time's sake, let's go ahead and move on to Kenny Galladay is our next guy, tied for 6th out of Detroit. So Kenny Galladay is a guy that came onto the scene last season as a fantastic go-to guy. He really exploded on the fantasy scene especially. Kenny Galladay is a guy that has a bright future ahead of him. I'm really excited to see him develop and go through this next season. Hopefully everything goes well, just like it did last season, and he continues to develop. And I just really like the guy. He's super talented. He's got great hands. There's not really a great weakness to his game, and I think that's why he had such great production. And I think they're going to have to throw the ball around, and he's gonna reap all the benefits.
And as Queasy likes to say, Queasy loves all Michigan teams. Queasy is a Michigan guy. He loves the state of Michigan, but he hates the Lions. And as Queasy will tell you, Detroit is Detroit. And it's like whenever you're drafting a Browns wide receiver, or a Browns running back, or a Browns quarterback, the Browns are the Browns. So it doesn't matter how much talent they have on the roster. You just expect what you expect. But with Kenny Galladay, the Lions are the Lions. So they're going to be playing from behind. They are going to be passing that ball. Kenny Galladay came on as the number 3 between Golden Tate and Marvin Jones. Now, with Golden Tate being gone to the Eagles last season, Kenny Galladay got his chance to step up into the spotlight. And, man, he was the dude. He's very good. Even with, the second and third string quarterback when Matthew Stafford was injured, he was very good. So Kenny Galladay has a chance to slide up and be like a dark horse number 1 because of the fact that, like I said, they're going to be playing from behind, and he's supposedly, we're assuming, going to have Matthew Stafford all season. Kenny Galladay is definitely a top 10 receiver. He is a very talented wide receiver, and he's just like the dude. If he falls to you, and like we were talking about earlier with Devontae Adams, second, third round, snatch this guy up. Don't sleep on him.
Very, very pass-heavy offense, so all the potential is there for him to have another great year. But again, like I say, the Lions are the Lions. So if there's anybody to grab up on that team, it would be Stafford and also Galladay, and that'll be about it.
Don't forget about Swift.
Later rounds. So next up, we got our last person tied for this 6th position. So you could kind of interchange them in however you feel fit. But we've got Mike Evans, also with Tampa Bay. So it's kind of fitting that we have them tied. So we're not real sure, right? We're not real sure how that offense is going to look, being more precise, not so much pass heavy with a lot of volume. So is it going to go... Is the football going to be thrown a lot to your slot guys? Are they going to be a methodical team that goes down the field and they're throwing to Mike Evans in the end zone, red zone type situations? I'm not sure. But Mike Evans, extremely talented. He was the number 1 before Godwin got on the scene. I think Godwin's kind of put in that spot as the number 1 guy for fantasy for fantasy reasons because he's more versatile. He's a little quicker. But Mike Evans is your bigger possession type, big hands receiver. So Mike Evans has been around. I like him a lot. He could easily be up this list. He's kind of like a Julio Jones-esque type receiver. I think Julio's definitely better, but Mike Evans is in that discussion.
Yes.
So we'll see. We'll see what he looks like with a Tom Brady receiver or a quarterback throwing him the ball. I'm excited. I think everybody should be excited, but he should do well in that Tampa Bay offense.
And I will say, just because we have both of these guys tied at 6, don't be necessarily afraid to draft either one. I mean, there's going to be less volume, sure, but either one of these guys could end up being a top 10 receiver, and both could still end up being a top 10 receiver. I mean, you never know how Tampa Bay's defense is going to respond. They may still be playing from behind. You don't know. Just because their offense is going to be more efficient doesn't mean you should necessarily shy away from either one of these excellent receivers.
And just to play devil's advocate, if I'm correct, Jameis Winston, I know a lot of people like to speak of Jameis Winston in a negative light, but if I'm correct, he was one of the most yards, if I'm correct, last year. And so he will. So there's a lot of chances for these guys last year to get some yardage. This year is going to be more controlled with Brady, so it's going to be less chance, a lot less yardage going around. Even though there will be a lot less interceptions, will be a lot less yardage also too.
Hey guys, look, I'm Jameis Winston.
He's throwing it to whoever.
Yeah, he had that surgery in the offseason, right? What was it? He had LASIK or something.
Yeah, he's LASIK.
Yeah.
So one thing I think that has to be said is you wonder how much production, and it's an honest question, how much production will fall off because the volume more than likely won't be there, right? If you're more accurate with your passes, right, you should do better as an offense, but your receivers more than likely will take a step back in production because you're not getting this heavy volume. So it's likely that maybe they'll fall off. I think what we look for is that their touchdown total would be higher. That's what I look at.
Yeah, okay.
There's that, and to play devil's advocate, to Queasy's devil's advocate, when you're Tom Brady, you're a better quarterback, so you're automatically throwing receivers open because you've been doing this for like 800 years. When you're throwing receivers open, they're going to get more yards per reception. So, I mean,
Well,
maybe their efficiency goes up.
To play devil's advocate, to your devil's advocate, to my devil's advocate, they do still have Gronk and a couple other guys with some hands, so that still may take away some catches from them too.
Yeah, O.J. Howard's still there as well, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And O.J. Howard is a beast, and you don't really know what Gronk has coming back after having retired and come back. So
and let me say this, as a Deshaun Watson follower and worshiper, let me say that as a Texans fan, seriously, I am most excited to see this Tampa Bay team this season because it has changed so much. I'm very excited to see them play. I know we were talking about our Week 1 matchups a few episodes back, and we talked about a couple different teams, but man, Tampa Bay is the team to watch Week 1. What are they going to do?
Yeah. There's a lot of questions there, and I think a lot of people are heaping a ton on them, a ton on Brady, and they expect them to be in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl even. I've heard it all. And you got to wonder, how, honestly, to me, as a football guy, I look at it and I wonder not how well Brady's going to do, it's more of, is he going to be able to stand upright and make his second and third read? Because I really look at that line and wonder, and then I look at the line, the running backs. Is it going to be Ronald Jones? Is it going to be Keyshawn Vaughn? The rookie's talented, but can he pass protect? Ronald Jones is kind of unproven guy. I mean,
let me say this: Keyshawn Vaughn's got hands, and to this point, Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the easiest schedule that I broke down during my chart. I have half of the teams in the NFL, the top half of the NFL teams, as certified dangerous, and per this chart, they have the easiest schedule. So maybe Tom Brady will be able to stand upright, and maybe he will be able to fire off some of these shots. And if you're looking at that as maybe some of these defenses are going to be weaker that they're playing, then maybe these guys are actually going to finish a little higher than we think they will.
It'll be hard to say because a lot of people I know are putting them in the playoffs. Now, granted, I think they're adding a couple of extra playoff games. So it's almost half the league at this point goes.
I put them in the playoffs, not necessarily because of the amount of talent that they have, but just because of the easy schedule that I broke down that they have.
I got you.
Which we've also got a schedule analysis if you guys want to look back at that if you haven't seen it already.
Yeah, go take a look at that. It's worth a look. Yes. All right, well, for time's sake, let's go ahead and move on. I think Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, take them both, right? You can't
interesting discussion for sure.
Very interesting. We can go on and on. But let's go number 9. We're going to go on over to Texas, and we're going to take the Dallas Cowboys' own Amari Cooper. All right, so Amari Cooper, a little underutilized perhaps over with the Raiders. He came over last season, looked really good. Just signed Dak Prescott to his franchise tender, so you know he's going to be there, so no more Red Rocket talk for now. So you know Dak's going to be there, which really helps the entire offense because let's face it, Dak Prescott is a much better quarterback than Andy Dalton. Again, if you want to argue that, well, let's do it. I'll do it. I'll go on the air and do it with anybody that wants to. Okay, I like the Red Rocket, but he's not Dak. Okay, he's not Dak athletically. He's not him in arm strength. Anyway. Amari Cooper should reap all the benefits of having him there, and there's nobody more excited than than Amari Cooper to have Dak back. So, Amari Cooper, he's another guy that could be more towards the upper echelon of this top 5. We'll find out, but safely he's inside the top 10. Fantastic receiver, and we'll see how he does.
Yeah, I really, really like Amari Cooper. I actually drafted him pretty high on my fantasy teams last year. And the issue was the inconsistency. When he was almost like a Tyreek Hill. You know, he's not your burner, but he didn't show up some games. And now when you're adding the threat of CeeDee Lamb to this offense and you're having another one of these potential number 1 guys that you've got to cover, I mean, that really kind of opens up the field for Amari Cooper a little bit. So I definitely have him finishing top 10 and hopefully more consistent this season.
As with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, I think Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper, well, Dak Prescott will have something to prove this year, and Cooper is going to reap the repercussions of that. So I think you have a great year. Again, the Dallas Cowboys are the Dallas Cowboys, so we'll see where they end up in the playoff series, but I can see him definitely having a great year. And this right here is a shot to Red Rocket.
Red Rocket. He'll be the reliable backup. He's probably one of the better backups that we've got in the league this year.
We didn't talk about that. I'm going to talk to you guys about that, but that's another episode.
That's cool.
All right, so on number 10, Jeremy, who do we have?
So we have the second-year player coming in, believe it or not, from Carolina. Okay, so for the Panthers.
Just say it.
It's DJ Moore. Okay, stay with us.
DJ Moore.
Stay with us here. Okay, so DJ Moore. He came on real strong last year on an offense that was struggling. Okay, but he's got a new addition to the team, actually a couple. But one of them's Andrew's boy, the former offensive coordinator, passing coordinator with the LSU Tigers, Joe Brady.
Yes. Give me all shares of Joe Brady. Joe Brady was the difference maker for 2019 in LSU. 2018 LSU was the same roster as 2019 LSU. The only difference was you added Joe Brady as your passing game coordinator, and all of a sudden Joe Burrow is a Heisman winner, and every receiver on this team was a potential 5-star, came up and just blew up. I mean, no, it's insane. This guy is an offensive genius. Give me Joe Brady, so therefore give me DJ Moore. Give me Teddy Bridgewater is a definite sleeper, but I'm buying DJ Moore for sure.
I'm sorry, Juju Smith-Schuster. I voted for you, okay? I got outvoted, bro. So
it's okay. Juju was real close. He's right there, and if you watch our next episode, he'll probably be our number 11. To be honest, but you guys should just watch the episode and check our whole top 25 out. But Juju's very good, but DJ Moore just beat him out just a little bit.
So let me give my respect to DJ Moore at number 10. Great wide receiver. Definitely has something to prove with his sophomore year. Carolina, I mean, as you said, Bridgewater should have a good year. So I'm sure they're gonna have chemistry together again with the pandemic, and it's gonna affect how is that going to affect that. But again, he has everything ahead of him, so he has a lot of potential to do it.
Queasy's gonna go to sleep tonight underneath his Falcons blanket and cry on his Steelers pillow.
I will.
I'm sorry, Juju. Hey, I really do like Juju though. But yeah, DJ Moore, he's just he. If I'm not mistaken, he came out of Ole Miss as well, did he not?
Ooh, I don't know.
I think he did. Man, we have like this influx of like ridiculous rookie talent from Ole Miss. We had DK Metcalf, we had AJ Brown, and if I'm not mistaken, DJ Moore came from there as well.
He went to the University of Maryland, so he's a Terrapin.
That was close.
So
started with an M, and I've had way too much to drink tonight.
So close. We have been drinking, so apologies. But I do like Teddy Bridgewater there, and I think that you'll see that they're a more methodical type offense, and I think DJ Moore will be a better wide receiver for it. We'll see. We shall see. But definitely take him pretty high. Not over the guys that we listed 1 through 9.
No. So. But definitely don't sleep on him.
Don't sleep on him.
He could creep way up this list.
Look at how he did in his rookie season. Okay? He can easily go way up on his second season. I know the sophomore slump is real, but that's usually for quarterbacks. So.
All right, guys.
I think I hear Andrew's baby saying go for 3.
You do. She's over there dada-ing real hard. Well, definitely thank you guys for joining us on our top 10 wide receivers, and we'll have our top 25 wide receivers out very soon.
Very soon.
And as always, go for 3.
Go for 3.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Queasy at RastaLion1131, Jeremy at Checkerboard J, and me at Jedi Quarterback.